Hello, everybody. We are now looking at 3.5, which is dividing decimals. All right, so we have the algorithm here. In other words, the steps to follow. And it starts off with saying if the divisor is a decimal, we're going to move the decimal place to the right, making it a whole number. All right, so the key here is to make the numbers whole because you're not going to want to divide with the decimals in the problem. But remember, if you move the decimal place in the dividend the same number of places that you moved the divisor's decimal point. And this is to keep the problem equivalent. And to give you an example of what we're talking about here, if we had something like 1.5 divided by 0.30, it's the same thing as saying 15 divided by 3 equals what? Because what we're doing here is we're going to take this decimal point and we're going to move it 1 point over to the right. We're going to take this decimal point and move it one place over to the right. So how many times 3 goes into 1.5 is the same number of times that 3 goes into 15. They're equivalent. So let's keep that in mind when we work on the exit slip here. So I scroll down to 3.5 exit ticket, and we have our first problem here. We have a negative divided by a negative, so the first thing it's telling me about my problem is that I'm going to have a positive answer. And now we can go ahead and actually do the long division and kind of forget about the decimal place for a moment. So my 0.3 is going to be on the outside, and my 4.5 is going to be on the inside. So my 4.5 is going to be my dividend, is what we'd call it, and my 0.3 is going to be my divisor. So I'm going to move my decimal place over one spot to the right in my divisor, so that way it's just 3, a whole number. But what I do to that number on the outside, I also have to do to my number on the inside. So I move that decimal place over on the inside, and now that turns into 45. Let's go ahead and get rid of these decimal points and my line here. My problem now looks like 3 going into 45. How many times? So let's go ahead and figure it out. 3 goes into 4 once. Multiply 1 by 3 to get 3. Subtract 3 from 4, we get 1. We bring down that 5. How many times does 3 go into 15? 5 times. Multiply it by 3. We get 15. 15 minus 15 gives us 0. Therefore, we are donezo. All right. We don't have to worry about putting the decimal place up here in this problem because remember, again, the decimal point is here for 3 and it's here for 45. We could technically bring it up like this. We could write it as 15.0 if we wanted, but 15 works just fine. All right, now we're looking at the second problem here. It's 8.82 on the inside, and then on the outside, our divisor is going to be 0.9. All right, so since our divisor is not a whole number, we're going to go ahead and move that decimal place over one spot. What we do to that number, we also have to do to the number on the inside. And now, if we were to rewrite this problem, it's going to be 88.2 divided by 9. And we can actually just go ahead and bring up our decimal point here. So, first off, how many times does 9 go into 88? Because, well, 9 can't go into 8. Well, let's see. I know that 9 times 9 is 81, so I know it goes in there at least 9 times. 9 times 9 is 81. 88 minus 81 is going to give me 7. And now I can bring down my 2 here. So how many times does 9 go into 72? That's what I'm looking at now. How many times does 9 go into 72? Let's think about my multiplication facts. If 9 goes into 81 9 times, then it would go into 72 8 times. 72 is 8 less than 81. So that's going to be 9.8. And again, I brought my decimal point directly above. So this looks like it should be my final answer. One way that I like to check it is to think logically here. So this problem almost looks like how many times does 9 go into 88? And 88 is close to 81. So it only makes sense that our problem is going to start with 9 here. All right? 9.8 is close to 9. So this answer does make sense. If I had an answer like 98 or like 0.098, that wouldn't make sense. But this does. So we're going to keep it, and it looks good. All right, now we're looking at problem 3. Aiden bought 4 pounds of apples for $6.36. How much does 1 pound of apples cost? All right, we're going to get into this next week. This is something called a unit rate. And so here we're trying to find the price per pound. And so here, if we have 4 pounds for $6.36, I'm going to divide that by the number of pounds. So here, let's think about it. This is kind of tough, but I know 4 goes into 36 9 times. All right, so I'm going to have my 9 here, and then 6 divided by 4. $6 divided by 4, that's going to be $1.50. So here it's going to be $1.59 per 1 pound. All right, and you could very well do your division here with your 4 on the outside, your $6.36 on the inside. So here you get 1 multiply by 4, you get 4, subtract, you get 2, bring down your 3, 4 goes into 23 5 times, multiply it, we get 20, and then we have 3 left over, bring down our 6, it goes into 6 9 times, so we get 159. Awesome. So here, this is a unit rate, and we're also dividing using decimals. So we see how both things are applicable in the real world. And who doesn't go shopping, right? Very, very useful to know this. All right, thank you guys very much. Hopefully this helped. Can't wait to see you for 4.1.